Hi everybody! Day 23 of my year in food, and it is a beautiful spring day here, so I'm very inspired with all this loveliness to have some springy food. So we've got loads of asparagus in at the moment and lemons, so what better to do than a lemon asparagus risotto? So that's what we're going to do today. And I do have a little bit of fish, some wild caught cod fillets that I'm going to do as well. But I'm just going to show you how to do the risotto. Now, there's quite a lot of steps to this, so I'm actually following a recipe, my recipe, from my first cookbook. So you can find it there in the gluten-free table, or you can go to the LegacyGirls.com and the recipe is there as well in the recipe tab. So I would suggest you follow along with that. And I'm actually going to do this dairy-free for the most part. I'm using chicken stock instead of doing any kind of butter. You could use vegetable stock if you want to have a vegetarian risotto. And for the cheese, I'm actually going to use a pecorino romano cheese. So it's a sheep's milk cheese, which sheep and goat milk for me are usually much better than cow milk. Ooh, wait, honey. Boop, boop, boop. No. So we're going to do a little bit of pecorino cheese with this. Or you could leave the cheese out, actually. I know it sounds crazy because it's a risotto, but when you see the consistency that you get with just the stock, it's so creamy and delicious as it is. So don't feel like you have to add the cheese. You could do this dairy-free fully. So let's go have a little look-see at the ingredient board and we'll get cooking because there are quite a few steps today. So day 23, my year in food, we're springing ahead with our springtime lemon asparagus risotto. Thanks for coming in the kitchen. All right, this is the lovely ingredient board for day 23 of my year in food. It's really not that much. So you want 4 cups of stock. So I'm using a low sodium chicken stock, but if you wanted to make this vegetarian, just use a vegetable stock. Olive oil, no butter today, so just olive oil. Now this is the obvious secret ingredient. You need a proper risotto rice for risotto. So you want, this is the most common, the arborio rice. You can usually find that anywhere. I found that just at the little local grocery store. And instead of parm, I'm doing pecorino, which is the sheep's milk cheese. So that's going to be our cheese for today. Garlic, lots of minced garlic. Some lemon, which we want the zest of the lemon and the juice. And these are quite little babies, so I'm going to do 2 of these today. But 1 large lemon would be great. Salt, pepper, that gorgeous asparagus, and 1 small onion. If you have shallots, that's just as great. You want that really finely minced, so you don't need a lot of it. Just make sure it's really finely minced. And the asparagus, we're going to have to do it in 2 parts. So you want to get rid of those yucky, you can see how that's quite yucky at the bottom. No one wants that anyway. So we're going to chop those little ends off. But then with a vegetable peeler, from about the middle way down, we're going to peel some of that rough skin off. So we'll peel those all the way down and then chop that up, and that'll go in with some stock and become a puree, an asparagus puree, if you will, to blend into the risotto, and then the top bits will go into the risotto as well. So we're really utilizing all the asparagus in this and really kind of just layering that asparagus flavor throughout the whole dish, which really makes a difference. So this is all the ingredients for day 23, lemon asparagus risotto. And let's go have a look at the recipe as well, just so you can have a look at where it is, where to find it. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to show you all the steps today, so why don't you go to my first cookbook, the gluten-free table has this recipe, or you can go to LegacyGirls.com and look up lemon asparagus risotto, and you'll find it there. But you can see it's got quite a few steps, totally worth it. It's delish, and let's go get cooking. Okay, so here is my pound of asparagus that's been prepped. So I've just snapped it to where it's fresh, and all the fresh bits, this is it. And we're going to chop that up. Now these are the bottom bits, which we cut the yucky bits off, that little end, the white yucky bit. That's gone. This is the rest of the stock, and all I've done is with a vegetable peeler, given it a good little peel. You can see that. I need to get my nails done. We just gave that a good little peel, and now this is going to get chopped into little bite-sized kind of pieces. And then we're going to put this with 2 cups of chicken stock and give that a little, bring it to a boil, simmer for about 10 minutes. And then once that's cooled, we're going to puree that in the blender, and that will become that asparagus kind of puree. So that's where I am now. I'm going to get that stuff going, and I will show you the next bit in a moment. So here were the little ends, the rough ends, that we did with 2 cups of stock, and I just simmered those for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to just let that cool so I can put him in the food processor. And so that'll be the puree. So that's step 1. Now we're going to get cracking on the actual risotto. Right, so in this pan I did some olive oil, minced garlic, and a shallot, and sweated that down for a few minutes. And now I'm just getting the little tips and the rest of the stalks that were cut up from the top bit, and we're just going to give that a few minutes in here. And I've got the rest of the 2 cups of stock bubbling along, so that's ready to go in. So in another few minutes I'm going to add in my cup of rice, the arborio risotto rice. We're going to toast that for a few minutes, and then I'll start to slowly add in the stock. And my other pan's just cooling down with the other little bottom bit of the stock and the other 2 cups of chicken stock. So we're going to puree that in just a minute, and this is going to come together very shortly. Oh, it smells so good. Happy spring! I added the rice into the pan, and I just gave that a good stir to coat it with the oil. And we're just going to toast that for about 2 minutes, and I'm going to slowly start adding the stock, about 2 to 3 ladles at a time, and really letting it absorb before I add any more. So I'm going to need 2 hands for this, guys. So I will show you this beautiful pot of risotto as soon as I get all the stock blended in before we add the puree. The first few ladlefuls of the stock, and you can see it's been a few minutes and it's almost fully absorbed. This is on low heat. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the stock and give this a good stir and let this keep stirring until the rest of the stock gets nice and absorbed. And then I'll pick it up there so you can see the next step. So all of the stock is in, and you can see it's been about 8 to 10 minutes, and it's nice and it's almost all the way absorbed. So right now we're going to add in that pea puree and the lemon juice and zest. So I just did this in the NutriBullet. Thank you, Auntie Phyllis, for the best gift ever. Okay, so that all goes in. That's the pea puree. And then this is the lemon zest and juice. Now, this is all going to have to get stirred really well. We're going to turn the heat up to about medium-low, and we're going to let this go, stirring occasionally for 20 minutes. I'm also going to add a pinch of salt and some pepper right now as well. So after the 20 minutes, everything should be nicely absorbed. The rice should still have a bit of bite. It should be al dente. You don't want risotto to be a big pile of mush, believe it or not. You do want it to still have a bit of a bite. So 20 minutes, that's hopefully what we'll get. And we'll give that a good season in a second. And then we'll also add, after that 20 minutes, we're going to add our cheese. So about a 1/4 cup, and we're using the Romano cheese, pecorino. So, okay, I'm going to let this go for 20 minutes, and I'll see y'all in just a minute. How beautiful is that? So it's been about 20 minutes. All that lemon juice and puree are pretty much absorbed. I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle in that 1/4 cup, a little bit more, 1/4 cup of the cheese. I'm going to give that a really nice stir, and this is it. I'm going to have a taste after. I don't think it's going to need much salt, but it might need a little bit more pepper. And that is our beautiful lemon asparagus risotto, just a whole bunch of spring. It's kind of grassy with all that asparagus, and then beautiful light citrus flavor. It's just so beautiful. So that's it. We're going to go plate this up, obviously, so you can see it in its glory. And like I said, you could serve this with some grilled scallops or shrimp. I'm going to do a nice fillet of cod that I've got. anything you want, but this is it. So let's go plate this up and have a look. Yum, yum, yum. This is my lemon asparagus risotto for day 23 of my year in food. So there you have day 23 of my year in food, my lemon asparagus risotto. It is amazing. It tastes so good. And if you really want to keep this dairy-free, just skip the cheese altogether and it tastes amazing no matter what, just with the stock. So I hope you all try this for yourselves. And remember, you can go to LagassiGirls.com and get the recipe there. Happy cooking, happy eating, and I will see you tomorrow.